Millions of Americans are now preparing for very uncertain times, especially when we are hearing that we are going to see shortages in the U.S. economy. This is something that the American people have not experienced since the pandemic. And many people are saying this is something that millions and millions of Americans are not prepared for. Today, I want to break down what's going on, what President Trump just said this morning regarding his deals that he's made with certain countries. I want to talk about what China's doing, what we're seeing at the U.S. ports, and what 12 states have just decided to do to President Trump and the Trump administration regarding tariffs. So I'm going to break all this down in just a moment, explain what is going on and how you will likely be impacted here in the very near future. But first, before I do, all I ask is one thing. Takes 2 seconds. Go ahead, hit that like button if you enjoyed these updates. And now, let's begin. So first, let's get to the big news, what President Trump just said this morning. Now, this is interesting. Listen to this.
President Trump touting that he's made 200 trade deals in a new 2-hour interview with Time magazine ahead of his 100th day in office.
Now, did President Trump announce that he's made over 200 deals, which we have no idea who they're with, what the deal even entails, and is this going to benefit the United States? We don't know, because it wasn't until this interview that he just did that we finally learned of it. But 12 states aren't waiting. Look at this right here. It says 12 states sue Trump over tariffs, claiming they're illegal and harmful to the U.S. economy. The White House tells Fox News Digital that Democrats are once again prioritizing a witch hunt against President Trump in reaction to the lawsuit. Here's what I can tell you. These states that are suing the Trump administration because of the tariffs, that say tariffs are illegal, this is exactly what other countries are doing to the United States. What President Trump is trying to do is to even the playing field because we currently have a trade deficit. But as a result of President Trump coming in and trying to even the playing field, what we are seeing is a slowdown in this U.S. economy. According to the Treasury Secretary, the Federal Reserve Governor, Christopher Waller, just this morning, and we heard from him yesterday as well, is what he is saying is he expects we are going to see layoffs and price increases happen at the same time, most likely around July of 2025. So we have a few months. This right here is, according to some, they're speculating that President Trump knows that he only has a couple of months to see movement. Based off what President Trump is saying and based off what we're hearing from reporters, is President Trump knows that he is in a very, very tight time frame. And so based off what he said in the recent interview is that he's going to have all the details for these 200 trade negotiations. He's going to have those in the next 3 to 6 weeks. So that will be good there. But here's the problem. Look at this. It says the trade war's wave of retail shortages will hit U.S. consumers in stages. And we know this. It's going to hit us in different stages based off of where the products are coming from. Okay? How much the tariffs are going to cost us. What we are experiencing right now is some retailers are leaving their products at the ports. They're not even picking them up. Look at this one. It says Chinese freight ship traffic to busiest U.S. ports, Los Angeles, Long Beach, sees a steep drop. It says right here, the number of Chinese freight vessels headed to the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, the top destinations for Asian freight, has dropped sharply. The trade war between China and the U.S. is leading to a demand plummet, and ocean carriers have started to suspend or adjust trans-Pacific services. We are at a tipping point on the West Coast. Yeah, we are far beyond that tipping point. Look at this one. It says, product shortages and empty store shelves loom with falling shipments from China. We've heard from Peter Schiff. We've heard from the Federal Reserve chairman. We've heard from Federal Reserve governors. We've heard from President Trump himself. We know there's going to be issues. But this is the problem. The American people are not prepared for some of these issues. What we've seen over the past month or so, really about 6 weeks, is we have seen more people rush to the stores, go out and buy a new car, go out and renovate their homes simply because they're worried about lumber prices going up, car prices surging, and products becoming more expensive. So they are rushing out, putting things on credit cards and going into deeper and deeper debt simply because they don't want to pay a little bit more as prices go up. Keep in mind, products like clothing is going to go up quite a bit. Products like electronics are going to jump a little bit. But cars, that's one that it's going to see a steep increase. I get it. But at the same time, you don't have to go and buy a new car. Buy something used here locally, which means you don't have to pay a tariff. That's the good news. Don't buy new if you don't have to. That's what we're hearing from many experts. But look at this. I thought this one was interesting because we are seeing more of this. It says empty shipping containers. U.S. apparel stocks face their biggest risk yet. Now, I have seen stories on TikTok and people are saying that there's proof that China is shipping empty storage containers. Empty containers. And that they're doing this to stick it to the United States. Well, here's what I can tell you. China is not, in some cases, yes, there's probably an empty container here and there. Okay? That is happening. But as far as them shipping empty containers across the ocean and hitting the ports, and then we open up and say, oh, there's nothing here. That's not really happening. So all those people spreading those rumors, again, I just want to put that to rest. That's not really happening. Here is what is happening. There are shipping containers that are not packed full. So when they say it's an empty shipping container, it is like 40% filled. Okay? It's not 100% at capacity. This is where we're at, is that these shipping containers that have all the different products, some of them are coming into the United States and they're practically empty. They're sitting at 20% capacity. That's it. Okay? And again, this is different from the past few years where when we saw everything just open back up, there was product after product. The shelves were full. Different retailers had to open up more warehouse space because they had too much product versus the actual floor space. It was an issue. That's why more of them started selling online, is because it was cheaper. It was easier. That's what they're doing. But look at this. It says the U.S. wants to charge Chinese ships to dock in American ports. Here's one of the reasons why the United States wants to do this. For one, ships are almost waiting out in sea. They're slowly coming into the United States, right? They've left. They've left China, left the wherever port they were coming from. They've left and they're coming into the United States. But what some ships are doing is they've been instructed to slow their roll. Don't come in so quickly, right? Take your time, because what's going to happen is eventually the tariff prices are going to come down. That's what they want to do. They want to pay less. And so as the tariffs come down, that's when the ships will start coming in. But again, this is what's very frustrating is you look out and you see all the different ships that are kind of waiting or slowly coming into port. And again, we're not seeing 10,000 ships just waiting out in sea. But this is what some are saying is going to happen. If President Trump doesn't act quickly and negotiate with these other countries, China being the main one, we are going to see shortages in our stores. And based off what we're hearing, the shortages are likely going to happen probably in June. We are going to see layoffs and price increases are going to happen likely in July. Again, the shortages are going to happen. And again, I want to paint this picture. What they're expecting, what economists are expecting is the goods that are coming into the United States are going to come in, okay? But as soon as, and again, we're going to see the shortages first. Then we're going to see a surge of new products. The products are all going to come in with price hikes. there's going to be, and we're already seeing this. Okay, I'm already getting reports on this where certain companies, and I'm not going to name the companies yet because it hasn't been publicly stated, but what I'm hearing is that certain companies are changing their packaging to make it more luxurious, and that's why they're going to pretty much ask for a higher price. It's the exact same product, same quality material. It's a good product. It's a company I highly back. But one of the things that they're doing is they're going to make it look a little bit nicer so that they can ask more money for it. That's really it. Okay, so we're seeing this in multiple industries as well, multiple different sectors. So be prepared for that. Now, I want to show you one last thing right here. I want to read a little of this to you as well. It says LA County ports expect roughly 40% drop in traffic as Trump tariffs continue. I want to read a little of this article to you. It says right here, for the week beginning May 4th, San Pedro Bay complex looks like it's going to have a 44% drop in vessel calls when you compare that year to year. That's a significant number. It says the port rely heavily on imported goods from China, which President Trump levied tariffs on of up to 145% against. It says right here, I think that we're going to look to now in the second quarter of 2025 and also the third quarter, a substantial reduction in cargo volume. As you know, our imports here at the Port of Long Beach overwhelmingly come from Asia, more specifically China. Not only are we going to see the goods drop here in the United States, we're also going to see the port workers. They are somewhat frustrated because they are seeing the work is going to drop. So all the things that, again, they need to pay for, the hours that they're working, right? That we're gonna see layoffs. We're gonna see reductions in hours, right? Pay is pretty steady, but as far as the amount of hours you're working, that's where we're gonna see a decline. So I just want to warn you that what we are hearing right now is there's going to be economic uncertainty all throughout the United States. It's going to start from the east and west coast, and it's going to work their way in. Keep in mind, on the east and west coast, what they are kind of benefiting from is they're closer to the ports, meaning that getting the products to them is cheaper, versus like in the middle part of the United States is everything has to be trucked in or brought in by rail. And so it becomes a little more costly to take a product from the east and west coast and now ship it into the center of the country. So just keep in mind that is where we're at this time. I know a lot of people are going to be frustrated once the shelves are looking somewhat empty and it looks like the pandemic all over again, but we don't have those issues. The issues we have now can actually be settled fairly quickly through negotiations. So we'll see what happens moving forward, but that's what we know as of today. So again, thank you guys for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.